Now a few years back, Benchmade dropped the Proper. I missed out on it like I do a lot of things. And on the surface, it's a pretty good looking take on a classic slip joint. At this point in time, I hadn't gone full GEC. Of course, presently now that we're in the future, like an idiot, I have about 25 Great Eastern Cutleries, which are great for taking up space above my desk, looking at them between refilling the bird feeder on the back porch and counting forum posts of new members, making sure they're allowed to buy a forum knife, the important things in life. But if I had bought the Proper a few years back before I had joined the brimmed ones, this review might have turned out different. And I would have been laughed at for posting pictures in the traditional knife forum. Now, this was donated to the channel by a generous subscriber, not named Benchmade, because they don't talk to me anymore anyway, since they sent me the mini Griptillion. So the question is the Proper a proper surprise or a proper disappointment? We're going to find out. Anyway, let's look at the dimensions before we go any further. Kind of a cute little bugger here, a gentleman's knife, as they say. I don't know who they is, though, just that they always have an opinion on things. First up, the blade. Benchmade likes their S30V in their knives, and I like that they like it. It's been the standard steel for Spyderco and Benchmade for years. It's like the bare minimum on the knives they decide to charge you like $100 for. You can find some 154 cm and a few of the less expensive Benchmades, but S30V is generally the base steel in their knives over $100. I have no real problem with it personally. Now, Benchmade, despite having uneven grinds from the factory regularly, enough for people to, it becomes a meme where it's like, oh yeah, Benchmade's quality control. Anyway, Benchmades though usually have a decent edge for maintaining on an idiot-proof system like the Sharpmaker. It's about 20 degrees per side. That's just a general on the Benchmades I've owned. They should sharpen up in a few minutes because you're not reprofiling them, you're just touching up the edge. And that's been my experience with most Benchmades and Spydercos. At least they're more mainstream ones. Now the Proper here is the model 318 or the clip point. But they used to have a 319 sheep's foot, and I think they discontinued it. I looked that up, and I think that's accurate, but if it's not, I don't care enough to fix it now. Now, I think overall, though, I prefer clip points like this one because it has a tip friendlier to piercing than a sheep's foot, and I'm no shepherd. Now, before I had this knife, Eugene Kwan and I talked about it. You remember him from the dashboard reviews. He took all of his videos offline, and he said in as much words that it sucked. And I didn't believe him at the time. He didn't like the design. He said it overall was underwhelming. You know what? He was mostly right, and I was wrong about it. Now, I respond well to the looks. I don't agree with him on that. But overall, where I think it sucks is the thing that makes it a traditional knife, the back spring. It's just mushy, kind of has a wishy-washy springiness. If you're holding it and you press down on the spine of the blade, it doesn't pop back like a normal good slip joint does. At least that's my opinion on a good slip joint. I think the popular opinion on a good slip joint is they have to have a little bit of springiness there, They don't have to have like a medium pull. Now, this knife isn't a light pull, though. It's like Benchmade, though, never held a good, crisp slip joint. It's like, we're going to make a slip joint, and we don't care what a good slip joint is. We're going to figure it out. And then you look at the back spring and the liners when open, or there isn't a glass-like smooth surface that can be found on almost any GEC now. Maybe some of the older ones aren't like that. But you have this marrying of the covers, the liners, and the back spring that all just are a nice smooth surface. And they don't really kind of go together here, like this $60 Sodbuster. Now, not all slip joints need to look like this, like the CK01, it goes for the chamfered rounded look. That's fine, that's a good look. So there's a nice separation, or on the Falcon, same, These don't go for that look on the top. But the Proper isn't doing that. And it looks a little sloppy and uneven for a $120 knife when I know Great Eastern Cutlery, they make them cheaper and they make them nicer. Now the plus side is this handle is smooth and comfortable. I like the micarta, and you can take it apart, which you can't a lot of the other ones unless you want to repin them, which I had done, and I tried to make this knife a little bit better, but it didn't work. Now the Proper is a clipless knife, like no pocket clip, so it just dangles in the bottom of your pocket. You can get a clip slip for it, if you want. Now let's look at the comparisons. First, the Proper. I have a few other modern slip joints, and this is my least favorite of a more modern interpretation of a slip joint. If Benchmade could make a nice crisp back spring and marry the liners, covers, and back spring together and make it nice and smooth, it'd be great. Now, if you think I've been a little hard on a screwed together constructions, top of the handle fleshness, the Serge Slipjoints here back me up. Look at the handle top. Everything looks nice and smooth. These are well done, and also another great example of a modern slip joint with great fit and finishing, and a snappy backspring. Now these are a little more expensive though, and they use M390 and titanium scales, and they run about 150 bucks. The Falcon here is a great example of a modern interpretation. It's got a nice pull, it's got a crisp talk, you know, the walk and the talk. Sure, the looks may not be for everyone, but it's a good knife, and it feels like a good slip joint. Or say the Madison Barlow, Northwoods here, made by GEC, a beautifully executed knife. Objectively, this is a great looking knife, and if you don't think so, you have terrible taste and shouldn't be listened to. It's reasonably thin and feels great in the hand. Carbon steel is a more traditional choice, and I like the way it ages over a stainless modern steel like S30V or M390. Now the Lionsteel, CK01, or the Shuffler. Also a nice looking knife. Some people hate the screws. That's all they can see. All they can see are the screws, but I don't mind them. Although a pin construction, like on the Madison Barlow, is cleaner and more traditional, you have the people that want to take apart their knives and they're the people that want the visual, so it's hard to please both of those. Good crisp backspring, modern materials, but a classically inspired design. All right, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to try to keep this one short. Now the Proper is okay. It ain't terrible, but it's popular when I think it's just because it's Benchmade's lone traditional style knife, or traditional-ish looking knife. I guess I got a few others, but they're not my thing. Benchmade would do well to tear down a good slip joint, see how it works, and improve the walk and the talk and the flushness of the backspring to the liners. On the other hand, GECs are just as impossible to get as ever, and you need to follow the blade forums and their social media to even attempt to get them. It sucks, you know, you just gotta have some email alerts set up, but you can do it. If I can do it and I don't have the hookup, you can do it. It's possible if you really want one, but it takes a little bit of effort. Anyway, if you like this sort of video, think about becoming a patron like these swell folks here. Thanks to the dude who sent me this, because, you know, sometimes it's good to be disappointed in a knife you think you'd like. It builds character. Like, subscribe, comment, or even buy a t-shirt or sticker from Teespring, also found below the video. And thanks for watching.